Picture this. You're standing in line at your favorite coffee shop, scrolling through your phone, when you overhear the person behind you complaining about being broke again. They're lamenting about how they never have any money, how the bills keep piling up, and how they'll never be able to afford that vacation they've been dreaming about. Meanwhile, they're ordering a $12 specialty latte with extra everything. Sound familiar? Well, here's the thing that might shock you. Most people are walking around clueless about the basic principles that separate those who build wealth from those who stay stuck in the paycheck-to-paycheck cycle forever. My name is Brad, and I help people understand how simple financial strategies can create extraordinary results. If you're tired of watching your money disappear every month without knowing where it went, or if you're ready to finally take control of your financial future, subscribe to the channel and hit like if this helps you think differently about money. Here's something that will probably make you laugh or cry depending on your current situation. The difference between people who build lasting wealth and people who struggle financially their entire lives isn't intelligence. It's not about having a high-paying job or getting lucky with investments. It's not even about making more money, though that certainly doesn't hurt. The real difference comes down to following a handful of fundamental principles that anyone can learn and apply regardless of their current income level. Today, I'm going to walk you through the 10 golden rules of money that can transform your financial life. These aren't complicated strategies that require a finance degree to understand. They're simple, proven principles that have been creating millionaires for decades. Some of these rules might seem obvious when you first hear them, but I guarantee you'll be surprised by how many people completely ignore them. Others might challenge everything you thought you knew about managing money. By the end of this video, you'll have a clear roadmap for building wealth that actually works. And you'll understand why most people never achieve financial freedom despite earning decent incomes their entire lives. More importantly, you'll know exactly what to do differently starting today. Golden rule number 1. Never spend more than you earn. Let's start with the most fundamental rule of money, the one that everything else builds upon. Never spend more than you earn. I know you're probably thinking this is so obvious it doesn't need to be said. But here's the reality check. The average American household carries over $9,000 in credit card debt. That's not including mortgages or student loans. That's $9,000 spent on stuff they couldn't afford in the first place. This rule sounds simple because it is simple, but simple doesn't mean easy. Living below your means requires discipline that most people simply don't have. It means saying no to things that everyone around you is saying yes to. It means being comfortable with delayed gratification while living in a culture that worships instant everything. But here's what happens when you master this first rule. You break free from the maddening cycle that traps most people. You know the cycle I'm talking about. Work, spend, stress about bills, work more, spend more, repeat until retirement, and wonder where it all went. When you consistently spend less than you earn, you create what's called positive cash flow. This surplus becomes the foundation for everything else we're going to discuss. Think about it this way. If you earn $3,000 per month, but spend $3,050, you're moving backwards financially every single month. Even if it's just $50, that deficit compounds over time. But if you earn $3,000 and spend $2,800, that $200 surplus becomes your ticket to financial freedom. Golden rule number 2. Pay yourself first. Most people handle their money completely backwards. They get paid, pay their bills, buy whatever they want or think they need, and then save whatever is left over. The problem with this approach is that there's usually nothing left over. Life has a funny way of expanding expenses to meet income. Paying yourself first means flipping this process on its head. Before you pay anyone else, before you buy anything else, you pay yourself by setting aside money for savings and investments. This isn't a suggestion or something you'll do when you have more money. This is a non-negotiable expense, just like rent or your car payment. A common rule of thumb is 10% or more. If you're in your 20s and you save 10% of every paycheck, you're stacking the odds toward a comfortable retirement. Not just getting by, but comfortable. The person who consistently saves 10% of their income will build substantial wealth over time, while the person who saves whatever's left over will likely struggle financially their entire life. Here's how you make this automatic. Set up a monthly transfer from your checking account to a dedicated savings or investment account. Treat this transfer like any other bill that has to be paid. The money moves before you even have a chance to spend it on something else. When you automate the process, you remove the temptation and the decision fatigue that kills most people's good intentions. Golden rule number 3, build an emergency fund. Life has a talent for throwing curveballs when you least expect them. Your car breaks down, you need emergency dental work, the refrigerator dies, or you lose your job. Without an emergency fund, these situations force you into debt, which completely derails your financial progress. Your emergency fund should cover 3 to 6 months of essential expenses, not 3 to 6 months of your current lifestyle, but the bare minimum you need to survive. Rent or mortgage, utilities, groceries, insurance, and other necessities. If your essential monthly expenses are $3,000, a common target range is $9,000 to $18,000 sitting in a high-yield savings account that you never touch unless there's a genuine emergency. I know that sounds like a massive amount of money if you're starting from zero, but remember, you don't need to save it all at once. Start with a goal of $1,000, then build from there. The key is consistency, not perfection. Let me tell you about Sarah, a marketing professional who decided to build her emergency fund by saving $200 per month. It seemed like a small amount compared to her monthly expenses, but she stuck with it. In year 1, she saved $2,000 for $100. By year 2, she had nearly $5,000, including the interest her money was earning. When her car needed an unexpected $1,200 repair, she paid cash instead of putting it on a credit card. No stress, no debt, no problem. The peace of mind that comes with having an emergency fund is worth more than the money itself. When you know you can handle whatever life throws at you, you make better decisions in every area of your finances. You're not desperate, so you don't make desperate choices. Golden rule number 4, you can't save your way to wealth. Here's where a lot of people get stuck. They think that saving money in a regular savings account is the path to wealth. With inflation running around 5 to 6% annually, and savings accounts paying maybe 1% if you're lucky, you're actually losing purchasing power every year. Saving is important for emergencies and short-term goals, but if you want to build real wealth, you have to invest. The phrase that changed my thinking about this was simple. Save for security. Invest for independence. Your emergency fund and short-term savings provide security, but your investments create the possibility of financial independence. The stock market has historically returned about 10% annually over long periods. That means your money doubles approximately every 7 years through the power of compound interest. Compare that to a savings account where your money might double in 70 years, assuming inflation doesn't eat away at it first. Compound interest is the 8th wonder of the world, and it's the reason why starting early is so crucial. When you earn returns on your original investment plus returns on your previous returns, growth becomes exponential rather than linear. Consider Alex and Jordan. Alex starts investing $250 per month at age 22, earning 7% annually. Jordan waits until age 30 to start investing the same amount with the same returns. By age 65, Alex has contributed $129,000 but accumulated $739,000. Jordan contributed $15,000 but only accumulated $368,000. Alex's 8-year head start resulted in $371,000 more in retirement savings. That's the power of compound interest and why this rule is so critical. Time is your most valuable asset when building wealth. Golden rule number 5. Not all debt is created equal. Now, before you start thinking, I'm going to tell you that all debt is evil and you should pay cash for everything, including your house. Let me introduce you to a concept that separates financially savvy people from those who struggle with money forever. There's good debt and there's bad debt. And understanding the difference can literally make or break your financial future. Bad debt is anything that puts money in someone else's pocket while making you poor. Credit cards used for vacation shopping sprees, car loans for vehicles you can't really afford, and financing for furniture that will be worthless in 5 years. This type of debt charges you interest for the privilege of owning things that lose value over time. It's like paying someone to punch you in the face repeatedly. Good debt, on the other hand, is money borrowed to acquire assets that appreciate in value or generate income. A mortgage on a home that increases in value over time. Student loans that lead to higher earning potential. Though, be careful here because not all education is created equal. Business loans that help you generate more income than the interest you pay. The key distinction is this. Good debt makes you money over time. Bad debt costs you money over time. If you're going to borrow money, make sure it's working for you, not against you. The average net worth of a homeowner is $255,000 compared to just over $6,000 for renters. That's not a coincidence. But here's the thing about good debt that most people miss. Even good debt should be used strategically, not carelessly. Just because you can get approved for a $500,000 mortgage doesn't mean you should. The goal is to use other people's money to build wealth, not to impress people with how much house you can barely afford. Golden rule number 6. Take calculated risks. Here's something that might surprise you. Playing it safe with your money is actually one of the riskiest things you can do. When you keep all your money in savings accounts earning 1% while inflation runs at 5%, you're guaranteed to lose purchasing power every single year. That's not safe. That's financial erosion in slow motion. Building wealth requires taking calculated risks. And there's a big difference between calculated risks and stupid risks. Calculated risks are based on research, have limited downside, and offer substantial upside potential. Stupid risks are based on emotions, have unlimited downside, and offer the possibility of losing everything. Investing in a diversified portfolio of index funds is a calculated risk. The stock market goes up and down, but over long periods, it has consistently rewarded patient investors. Day trading cryptocurrency based on tips from your cousin's friend's brother is a stupid risk. Taking a better job that pays more but requires relocating is a calculated risk. Quitting your job to start a business without any savings or business plan is a stupid risk. The difference is preparation, research, and having a backup plan. Risk isn't something to be avoided entirely. Risk is something to be managed and leveraged intelligently. The biggest risk most people face isn't that their investments will lose money. The biggest risk is that inflation will slowly erode their purchasing power while they do nothing to protect themselves. Golden rule number 7. Set specific financial goals. Most people have financial goals that sound something like this. I want to be rich. I want to have enough money. I want to not worry about money. These aren't goals. They're wishes. And wishes don't create wealth. Specific goals do. A real financial goal looks like this. I want to have $50,000 in my investment account by December 31st, 2026. That means I need to save and invest $833 per month for the next 5 years, assuming a 7% annual return. Now, we have something concrete to work with. When you set specific goals, you can work backwards to create a plan. If you need to invest $833 per month, but you're only saving $200 now, you know exactly what gap you need to close. Maybe you need to increase your income, reduce your expenses, or both. But at least you know what you're aiming for. Without specific goals, you're like someone driving across the country without a destination. You might end up somewhere interesting, but it probably won't be where you wanted to go. Financial success rarely happens by accident. It happens when you know exactly what you want and create a plan to get there. The most successful people I know review their financial goals quarterly, not obsessively, but consistently. They track their progress, celebrate their wins, and adjust their strategies when necessary. This isn't about perfection. It's about direction and intentionality. Golden rule number 8. Automate everything you can. Here's a truth that might hurt. Your willpower is not strong enough to build wealth. I don't care how disciplined you think you are. When faced with the choice between investing money for your future self and buying something you want right now, your current self wins most of the time. That's just human nature. The solution is to remove yourself from the equation as much as possible. Automate your savings, automate your investments, automate your bill payments. When the money moves automatically, you don't have to rely on motivation or willpower or remembering to do the right thing every single month. Set up automatic transfers to your emergency fund, your investment accounts, and your retirement accounts. Schedule these transfers for the day after you get paid before you have time to spend the money on something else. Pay your bills automatically so you never have to worry about late fees or damaged credit scores. This isn't about being lazy. It's about being strategic. The less you have to think about routine financial tasks, the more mental energy you have available for bigger financial decisions. Plus, automation ensures that you pay yourself first every single time without fail. The wealthy understand that systems beat willpower every time. They don't rely on motivation to build wealth. They rely on automated systems that work whether they feel like it or not. Golden rule number 9. Track your money obsessively. You cannot manage what you do not measure. And most people have absolutely no idea where their money goes each month. They know roughly what they earn. They have a vague sense of their major expenses, but the details that actually matter are completely invisible to them. Every successful business tracks their income and expenses obsessively because that's how they identify problems and opportunities. Your personal finances work exactly the same way. When you track every dollar that comes in and every dollar that goes out, patterns emerge that would otherwise remain hidden. Maybe you're spending $400 per month on food delivery without realizing it. Maybe your subscription services have crept up to $200 per month. Maybe you're spending more on coffee than you're investing for retirement. You can't fix problems you don't know exist. Modern technology makes this easier than it's ever been. Your apps can automatically categorize your expenses, show you spending trends, and alert you when you're approaching budget limits. But the app is just the tool. The real power comes from actually paying attention to the information. One practical habit is a monthly money date with yourself. Sit down, review your spending, check your progress toward your goals, and make any necessary adjustments. This isn't about judgment or guilt. It's about awareness and intentionality. The people who track their money consistently almost always outperform those who wing it. Golden rule number 10. Be patient and think long-term. Here's the final rule, and it might be the most important one of all. Building wealth is not a sprint, it's a marathon. Every financial decision you make should be filtered through this question. How will this affect my financial situation in 10, 20, or 30 years? Like the person who can delay gratification and think long-term will almost always outperform the person who needs instant results. Like compound interest needs time to work its magic. Real estate needs time to appreciate. Businesses need time to grow and become profitable. This long-term thinking applies to everything. Don't just think about the monthly payment on that car loan. Think about the total cost over the life of the loan and what that money could have become if invested instead. Don't just think about how much money you're saving by skipping investments this year. Think about how much wealth you're giving up over the next 30 years. The most successful investors are often the most boring ones. They buy diversified index funds and hold them for decades. They don't try to time the market or chase hot stocks. They understand that time in the market beats timing the market every single time. This patience extends beyond investing. Building an emergency fund takes time. Paying off debt takes time. Developing the habits and mindset that create lasting wealth takes time. But here's what's beautiful about playing the long game. The results compound just like your investments do. So, there you have it. 10 golden rules that separate people who build lasting wealth from people who spend their entire lives wondering where their money went. These aren't revolutionary concepts that require a PhD in economics to understand. They're simple principles that work if you actually follow them consistently. Remember that person in the coffee shop I mentioned at the beginning? The one complaining about being broke while ordering a $12 latte? That person doesn't have an income problem. They have a priority problem. They're choosing instant gratification over long-term wealth building, and they're getting exactly the results you'd expect from that choice. The beautiful thing about these 10 rules is that you don't need to master all of them overnight. Pick one or two that resonate with you and start there. Maybe it's automating your savings or finally building that emergency fund. Maybe it's tracking your spending for the first time in your life or setting specific financial goals instead of just hoping things work out. What matters most is that you start today. Not tomorrow, not next month, not when you get that raise or pay off that debt. Today, because every day you wait is another day that compound interest could have been working in your favor instead of against you. Your future self is counting on the decisions you make right now. 10 years from now, you'll either thank yourself for following these rules or wish you had started sooner. The choice is yours.